What we have in front of us here now with the Ukraine story is a huge event that is going to play itself out in this campaign. What the president said in one of those tweets there about the press, the idea that this is a conspiracy between the press, the fake news, etc. Let's look at not only Shane Harris's great reporting and the Washington Post's great reporting, something to be proud of as a Washington Post alumnus. Let's also look at the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, President Trump's favorite publisher. And in fact, it's the Journal that has given us great detail on top of Shane's reporting about these 8 mentions of supposedly in the whistleblower's complaint in which pressure was applied supposedly on the president of the Ukraine. This is a Murdoch paper. This is not, I've never heard the president accused Rupert Murdoch of fake news before, and I think we really need to look at that. We also need to look at this whistleblower question. There is a major Republican, Senator Burr, who has been a great defender and introduced whistleblower legislation, defended whistleblowers, and it's time for Burr, a senior Republican on the Intel Committee and chairman of the Intel Committee in the Senate, to say we need to see all of this correspondence. We need to release under the Whistleblower Act what occurred here. We need the transcript. And also the President of the United States says, oh, this was a beautiful conversation. It was fine, and it was all above board. Let the President release the transcript if that's the case.
Well, that's
once
the thing.
again,
we can't take
we're
his word
looking
seriously.
at a cover-up.
He
and
comes
what
up with this
let's
BS
stop
all the
on
time.
The word cover.
He says things like it was a beautiful conversation. We can't take those words seriously. That's my point. It's very frustrating. But tell me your point about cover-up.
Well, this would be, once again, an apparent attempt at covering up and trying to move to other questions and muddy the waters, what the President of the United States has done. Also, the idea that this is about the conduct of a whistleblower as opposed to the conduct of the President of the United States is absurd. Any more than in Watergate, it was the conduct of our source, Deep Throat, that was the issue, who was a high Justice Department FBI official whom we were in contact with, as if Deep Throat were the issue in Watergate and not the President of the United States and his illegal and abusive power, his conduct. That's what we got to keep our eyes on here. And also there is this whole question about the children of presidents of the United States and vice presidents, in this case, Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is a legitimate story to be looked at in terms of his role in this Ukrainian gas company. There's nothing that I've seen that substantiates Mr. Giuliani's or the president's allegations about crooked prosecutors dropping charges because it was Biden. But if anybody has a history of terrible conflict of interest by his children, it is this President of the United States. And we ought to be looking at all of these questions about the children of presidents and vice presidents of the United States and conflicts of interest.
All the children. Carl Bernstein, Shane Harris, thank you both.
David, lots to get at in this new poll. What does it tell us about where this race stands right now?
Well, it tells us, Alex, that this race stands in an entirely new place right now. Take a look at these top-line horse race numbers in Iowa, the critical first contest. You see Elizabeth Warren has been surging in Iowa. She's at 22% in this poll. Joe Biden has been fading a bit. He's at 20%. They are in a tier, a top tier to themselves. You see there Bernie Sanders at 11%, Pete Buttigieg at 9%, Harris at 6%, Booker and Klobuchar at 3% each. You see that Warren and Biden are in a tier to themselves, and there is no clear leader between them. We should note this is a margin of error, plus or minus 4%. The difference between them is well inside that. There is no clear leader, but what is clear is the direction these candidates are moving in. Look at where they were in June to where they are now, and the story of Warren's surge becomes that much clearer. In June, she was at 15%. She's up 7 points, Alex. She's at 22% now. Joe Biden down 3 points. Bernie Sanders down 5 points. Pete Buttigieg down 6 points. Kamala Harris holding steady and even there at 6%. But there is only one person there making substantial forward movement in Iowa, that first in the nation contest, and that is the Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. We also ask folks about a different kind of score. We say, hey, your first choice or your second choice, or you're actively considering them, just to get a sense of the sort of menu of options and where the candidates stand in Democratic voters' mind. Take a look at Warren's score here. 71% of likely Iowa Democratic caucus goers say she is either their first or second choice, or they are actively considering her. Look at that compared to where she was in June. She was at 61%. Again, the only person on this chart, yes, Buttigieg and Harris have ticked up a bit, 3 points there. The only person making substantial upward movement on this score as well is Elizabeth Warren. Biden holding steady. Sanders seeing a bit of a dip. This is all telling us, Alex, that Elizabeth Warren is surging in that first state.